Sorry, a little reminder to myself, but you choose your email address. It's going to refresh your screen. And then after you have that connected, you can have a choice if you want to sync over your email contacts, if you want to sync over your emails so you can read them within kvCORE. You can also sync over a Google or Outlook calendar. So this can be really handy for you. Now, I will mention it is, if you do that connection process, it's going to bring over and use it, if you use it for specifically for contacts, I should say. So I just let this refresh. I've got it connected now. I'll let this load back up. You'll notice it looks a little different now that I've connected my Google. But if I go to Google settings, and if I wanted to sync over my Google contacts, be aware that it's going to bring over all contacts from your Google into kvCORE. Now, this could be really convenient if, say, my Android users out there, if you got your Android phone backing up to Google, which it usually does automatically if that's the way you have your phone set to back up. It should back up to your Google account. And then you could connect your Google to kvCORE and have those just flow in every time you had a contact to your phone. So it could be really convenient for some of you out there. If you got thousands of contacts in your Google and you're not going to regularly be updating it, I would instead encourage you to bulk import your contacts, which again, we've got another video on YouTube if you want to check it out. If you do a little search on the YouTube channel from Inside Real Estate, how to import your email contacts to kvCORE. They can walk through that process as well. And we've got support articles as well. But if you are importing your contacts, you could just export them from Google and use our bulk lead import tool from the lead engine to bulk import those if you wanted to. So just a quick little example there. I'm going to disconnect my Google for now. Let's answer another question. All right, quickly switching over to the Q&A because I believe, apologize, I don't want to pronounce your name wrong. I believe Valley also shared out a question. It's about the same time as Charles, so let's go and address that. And she says, or they say, when I create a video through kvCORE Video for my listing, I need the brokerage office number to be on my branding. How do I add it? Thank you. All right. Again, so this might be something that might be a little bit specific to support. Are you adding a video through Core Video? Or are you adding a video through, say, something like Core Listing Machine is making a video for your new listing? Can you elaborate on which tool you're creating those videos with? Design Center. Okay. All right. So I will admit Design Center isn't something that I teach a whole lot on. So for clarification for anyone out there, Core Listing Machine and Design Center is a add-on tool. Not all users of the kvCORE platform do get access to this. This is something that's chosen at your larger brokerage level. And if they decide to include it, it's added to all of the agents in your brokerage. If you're not sure if you have Core Listing Machine and Design Center, you can hover over your marketing tab. If you see them here, you know you've got them. If you don't see them here, chances are it wasn't one that was added to your brokerage. Now, there is also a couple variations of Core Listing Machine and Design Center. You'll either see that it says new Core Listing Machine here, or, and new Core Social is usually a component as well, or you'll see it says Legacy Core Listing Machine and Design Center. For anyone who's not familiar with these, if you haven't taken any training on it, would highly recommend our course or our webinar, or both if you need a little refresher. And the kvCORE Learning Portal, you'll find as it loads on up, it's usually the first course that you see. New Core Listing Machine and Design Center is for the new version. Legacy is our pre-existing Core Listing Machine and Design Center. And again, you'll usually see if it says new or legacy on it. And then if you didn't want to take a self-paced course, we do have webinars in our training calendar as well. New Core Listing Machine is usually held on Mondays, and then Legacy Core Listing Machine webinar is held on Wednesdays. So with Core Listing Machine and Design Center, little recap. New core listing machine, every time you generate a new listing, it creates a marketing kit for you. And that marketing kit can include both digital and print advertising pieces for you. So for example, if I go to click on the design center, it's going to create, or I can really kind of pick and choose what pieces I want in my kit. You can kind of see everything that's available, all media, flyers, postcards, door hangers, stationery. You can also split it into social media designs. It will create a video for you of your various images, kind of a slideshow of your listing. It does create a single page website. Now, to my knowledge, I don't know that you can really edit that video too much on your end. It is something that's kind of pre-created for you. Now, I did click on the video option through Design Center. So again, I went Marketing, Design Center, and then I went and I clicked on video and I clicked on the play option and opened up a new tab for me. So this should create it for you if you have a marketing kit already created. You type in your listing, check for the branding here. Now, when I add in something like brokerage branding or my agent branding, I think you can select brokerage. I believe when it comes to the branding, it's mostly talking about logos and icons like that. I don't know that there is an option anywhere to, include something like a phone number. Now, if this is something that, by not having that phone number, you are somehow, having issues with, compliancy, that might be something definitely to report to our support team. And they can double check that. I would think that that would be something that I'm out of compliance with the state. Okay, yes. So I would think if that's happening for you, you're probably not the only one in your brokerage that's having that issue. So support should help be able to diagnose, see if there's something that we can do for that. But to my knowledge, there isn't a way for you to go and edit that video by yourself. I'm going to pull up a article on Design Center real quick. And just double check and see if we can find anything about the videos. So you can choose whether or not they include music, but for our support article, we don't have a lot of additional items at this time about what you can and cannot edit. So I would double check with our support team, make sure you have a ticket with them. If this is something that's going to affect your brokerage, make sure to mention that as well. I might even have your admin put in a support ticket. That way we can try to prioritize this and get a faster turnaround time for fixing that issue. All right. I'm so sorry. You've been so patient. I know you've had your hand up for a little while. I've just given you permission to unmute yourself so you can ask your question live. How can I help?
I recently just found out about a software called Productive AI, and on their website it says that it can be connected to kvCORE, but I was looking through in kvCORE and I don't see it. It's a call logging. It's pretty neat. I don't know if you know anything about that, you know?
I haven't. No, I don't know anything about productive AI. Let me see if we can pull anything up. So I'm not too familiar with productive AI. I know that there's a lot of different connections that you can connect to kvCORE using Zapier. So in your lead engine in kvCORE, if you head on over to lead Dropbox, you'll see a couple different keys or codes that usually allow you to connect third-party sources to your platform. So let me see. I don't have an account with Zapier. I don't think. I might have a demo one. Let me see if it'll let me connect real quick. But usually if you go and you check out, I would imagine it would be connected through Zapier if we did connect. There are a lot of connections that Zapier provides. I don't think I even know all the different options. So let's see real quick. We want to connect kvCORE to something else. So by default, since I went through kvCORE, it already knew kind of that's where I wanted to connect. And I just want to see if I can search productive AI really quick. Let's see, zaps, transfers. Yeah, they have updated Zapier a little bit. So I'll admit I'm not as familiar. There we go, create a new transfer. So that's what we would be doing. We would be looking, if we wanted to schedule it or run it once, we'll just do once because I just want to see if that is an option to connect at all through Zapier or Zapier. Apologize for anyone if I'm pronouncing this wrong. I always feel like it goes either way. Let's see. And so we're going to choose from kvCORE, or you could do the opposite, I suppose. You could do, depending on what you need this for, might be able to move it from your productive AI to kvCORE. I'm not seeing many options there. And then destination would probably be, kvCORE connections. I'm not seeing, it says from 29 different apps. I'm not seeing anything that looks AI compatible through Zapier. Now, you may have heard, and I do believe we have a YouTube video on this as well. You may have heard that there has been some updates. There is something in the works, our own kind of connection with AI. We've added in something we call smart assistants. A smart assistant, sorry. Right now it is in beta testing. So there is an exclusive list of some of our users that are testing out kind of our new AI product. I don't know exactly when that's going to go into a full launch or who it will be shared with exactly. But just to give you an idea of kind of what's to come, with our AI connection or our smart assistant connection, what we currently have, if I were to say, go to my CRM and send a mass email or mass text, we have smart assistant options. Now, I can choose a prompt or I can give AI a prompt as to what I want to write this email or this text message about and give it a little information. I found this can be really cool for a really cool workaround for my bilingual agents out there, as in a lot of times you can craft a message and ask for it to be translated into, say, Spanish, and the smart assistant can do that for you. So it can be really handy that way. But this is kind of the AI addition that we're incorporating here at kvCORE. Of course, there will probably be more AI options that are coming down the road, but I apologize, I haven't heard of the one you're specifically referencing. So long roundabout answer, but I hope that helped.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see, going back to the chat, we've got Penny who's asking about smart numbers. So is the smart number assigned to us the only one we really need? We shouldn't need to purchase one, should we? And also, the one assigned, can we use it in our print materials, our signature banners for emails, etc., or is it better to use our personal phone number, in any case, my cell phone number? Okay, great question, Penny. This is going to take a little time, so bear with me. There is, I feel like I could give a really involved answer about the smart number. So for more information on the smart number, again, I feel like I've mentioned this several times now, but our YouTube channel, we actually did a great deep dive on the smart number. Highly recommend. Or we also have support articles. Don't worry, I'll break down kind of the need to know, but I'm going to share this out just in case, if after we talk about it, anyone out there has additional questions about the smart number, because sometimes they don't always come up when you're talking about it, but you'll go home a little later and you'll scratch your head and you say, but what about this case? What happens in this scenario? So if that's you, just want to remind you that there's extra resources. But let's talk about the smart number. And I do want to mention, today's session, this webinar is open to all users of the kvCORE platform. And some of you are going to have different occurrences with the smart number. Typically, by default, every single user of the kvCORE platform, if they go and click on their name in the upper right-hand corner, is going to find a number located here. It's usually your office smart number. So that means this office smart number is shared not only with you, but with all the members of your office. Now, if you're also part of a team within kvCORE, there is a chance that you also have a team smart number. And then there are a select few brokerages, I think, out there that might not have a smart number that is included. But majority of you out there will have an office smart number. Now, this smart number is very important. It's a digital number. You'll notice there's no phone lines connected to your kvCORE platform, yet I have the ability to send out mass text through my computer. I also have the ability to call any of these leads through my computer. Now, if I send a mass text, if I complete a call, or if there's, say, text messages in my smart campaigns, those messages are going to come from my from my smart number, not my cell phone number. Now, what happens when I say text Jamie here from my smart number and Jamie replies? Well, it's going to recognize that even though this is a shared smart number, there's other agents in my office using the same smart number. If Jamie replies, that text message is still going to go back to me because it can identify that Jamie is my contact. It's in my database. So the smart number is very smart in the fact that it knows which contacts are yours and it knows how to route them back to you. So the smart number is very important. You're going to be using it. It's a good idea to share this out with your contacts. And after you get everybody imported into your database, it's a good idea to, maybe do some outreach. I mean, that's a good idea anyways, re-engage with everybody. I highly recommend doing something, I like to call it the 1-2 punch, where maybe you send everybody that you got an email address for, maybe you send them all a mass email. We've got a great template. I'm a big fan of our imported leads default email for re-engagement. Just lets them know, hey, I'm doing a spring cleaning of my database. You mind telling me where you're at? And it includes a link to your website for them. Now, what I would do, little pro tip, I would add in there somewhere a little message. And by the way, I've got a new work phone number. Include your smart number in there and let them know, from time to time, I may send you a text or call from this number. If you don't mind, add it as a contact in your phone so you always know those messages are coming from me. And you send them out that email. And, not everybody goes and checks their email right away. So we were talking about the 1-2 punch. That was punch number 1. Punch number 2 is maybe send them all a mass text and say, hey, I just sent you an email with information about my new office number and my new website. Just wanted to check that you got it. And that helps reconfirm that, hey, that was you sending that message to them. Also, gives them another little poke, shows them where your website is, and hopefully encourages them to add that phone number to their phone. So we want to get all our contacts acquainted with that smart number. Now, again, this is a shared number. So while it is something we want to share out with all our existing contacts and everyone we have in our CRM, because it is not solely owned by us, unless you go and purchase your own, which you can't purchase your own. I will say there is some brokerages as well. I think, there might be a brokerage or some brokerages out there where maybe your broker purchased bulk smart numbers for everybody and everyone just happens to have their own. I would imagine your broker or your team admin or whoever did that would tell you if that were the case. Usually pretty rare. Most people have a shared smart number. But if you wanted to purchase your own, it is an option from the marketplace. Now, it's not usually necessary to purchase your own smart number. If you really wanted to put your smart number on all your print advertising, you could do that if you've purchased your own personal smart number. But for the shared one, I wouldn't recommend putting it on your website or your print advertising as is. I would only share that on print advertising if you're using it in addition to a text code. Let me elaborate text codes real quick. All right, so in the lead engine, as far as your lead generation tools go, you have something called call and text capture. So again, I'm in the lead engine of kvCORE, call and text capture. Now, Call and text capture uses your smart number, and you create a little code. We call it a text code. And if you share these out in conjunction, so say you'll all have a default text code, some variation of your name. Mine says Marielle here. If someone was to text Marielle to my office smart number, which is listed right here, it's going to capture their phone number, and that lead is going to go directly to me. So the code is unique to my account. So even though they're calling or texting a shared number, if they're texting a shared number, they're using my code. So that will help bring it back to me. So again, with a shared smart number, good idea to share that out with all of your contacts that you got in your CRM. But for new leads that kvCORE can't see are associated with you, if they're not already in your CRM, if you want to attract new leads with your smart number, don't just share them the smart number. That could go to, potentially anyone in your office. Only share it out with the combination of a text code. And just so you know, you don't have to use the text code that is your name. The whole idea of the text code is you can create. So sorry, losing my voice a little bit here. Water break. The whole idea of a text code is you can create whatever code you want. So, maybe I'm creating a text code for my new listing that is 123 Main Street. Maybe I create some text codes that I put on flyers about recruiting, and the text code is text code join today for more information about recruiting. Maybe it's about, to encourage people to sign up for a showing. So I do text code show me. And if they type that in, you can choose for that text code if they're sent a link to that listing, a specific listing on your website, or you can craft your own message if you want it to be something that's more generalized or sends them somewhere else besides a listing on your website. So feel free to create some text codes. If you're not sure if you're going to use text codes just yet, but there are a couple codes that you have in mind that you're going to want to use later, keep in mind, since you're sharing the same smart number with the members of your office or the members of your team, you guys can't share the same text codes. They got to be unique to you. So even if you're not sure, how you're going to use them just yet, little pro tip, create a couple text codes that you think you might want or might use in the future and just save them. You don't have to decide exactly what the message is just now because you can always go back and edit these later. But what that does is it reserves that code for you. So someone else in your office or your team can't steal that code. They can't use that code. It'll be associated with your account. Because if I try to type in a code that someone else in my office has, it won't let me use that code. So kind of a little pro tip there if you're planning on using that for your promotions. So that is the long and the short of the smart number. Again, if you're calling through the computer platform, if you're texting through the computer platform, the smart campaigns, when they text or they schedule a call for you, again, they're going to use the smart number. If you are using, say, the mobile app or, however you'd like to call your leads, you can't still call them on your cell phone. You can't still call them or text them on your cell phone. But definitely, I would say, to have those calls logged in kvCORE to help keep track of, who you're calling and who you're not. I would definitely recommend to either, if you're not using the smart number for some reason, go back in kvCORE and make sure that you log any calls that you've done. Anywhere where you go to call, you can go and log it if you did it from your phone or somewhere else. So that way you've got a running record of it. Same thing if you sent them a text message, but it's not logged in kvCORE, add yourself a little note, a little reminder, texted Kristen on, 10/31 to wish her a happy Halloween. You get the idea. So that way you just have at least a little reminder to yourself that you did reach out to them on the date. So little pro tip there. All right. I know some questions came in as I was chatting, so let's go back and double check those questions. So yes, Denise, chances are your smart number is not only assigned to you. Chances are it's a shared number. I know someone also asked, how do I get to the text code page? Again, that's through Lead Engine, and you can just hover over that and go to call and text capture. Or if you click on the Lead Engine, call and text captures the third item, third tile here. So you click Get Started, and you click the green Add New button if you want to create your own text codes in here. And we can see if I scroll down, here's all the text codes that I've created in my own system. If I want to edit the message, if I want to edit, the hashtag that's going to be attached to any leads that text my code, whatever I want to change, I can always edit that. You can delete them if you want to, but again, if you delete it, then you no longer own that text code, so someone else could take that potentially. All right. Let's see. I missed a question from Robert. All right, Robert says, oh, I saw there's a couple in Q&A. All right, how do you check more than one screen of contacts? I've got multiple screens to check names, but I can only select what's on the screen. I need to be able to select names from multiple screens without kvCORE and checking the previous screen, just all the checked names. So you're saying that you're checking some contacts here, and then you want to go into maybe a contact record or something like that and check some other information when you go back. Say if I go check on this lead and I go back, it's unchecking something. So if you go somewhere else in kvCORE, it doesn't keep those checked. Is that kind of the what you're trying to share here? Well, what I do quite often is I'll open things in a new tab. So if I want to check on this lead, I just opened it in a new tab. I just right-clicked, open link in a new tab, and I opened up a second kvCORE to do some poking around. So maybe I want to go and check on, my smart campaigns first, double check my messages. Okay, this is maybe a campaign that I want to use. And then I go back to my previous screen and I can keep those checked and I can kind of continue on from where I was. It should keep that if you have multiple tabs open. So that might be a workaround or a solution for you potentially. All right. And let me see, I'm going to double check in the chat if there's any questions directly related to what we're talking about here. If not, I'm going to transition to the Q&A because I've noticed I've missed a couple there. So apologize if you guys have been chatting in both places. I'm going to switch back and forth real quick. Oh, and Robert, I just saw you raised your hand. Did you have something else you wanted to clarify about that question you asked? Robert, it says that you're unmuted, but I can't hear you, unfortunately.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Perfect.
Okay. What I was saying was, whenever you go to the first screen and I select all, and all the names are selected, then when I go to the next screen, the second screen to get the next batch, the previous screen always unchecked, so I can't select all the names from multiple screens and then text them all or email them all at one time.
That is correct. And that is the way it's supposed to work. Now, I'll mention in my demo account something funny about the trainer accounts. Our rows are locked to 10. So I can only see 10 contacts at a time in my database. But for you guys, you should be able to adjust the rows. Apologies about my voice again. Should be able to adjust the rows to 50, 100. I believe the cap is 250. So you could select up to 250 contacts at a time, select them all on one page, send out a next text. And then you would go to the next page and send that to the next grouping. So a little couple pro tips. Would definitely make sure if you're writing this text on the fly, but it's going to, hundreds or thousands of contacts, I would add that text message as a template, or you could have it in a doc and copy and paste it in there, but you might as well create it as a template in kvCORE if you're going to be sending out to large groups of individuals. So if you go to the marketing tab and you head on over to your smart campaigns, that's where you'll find your templates, and you can add in email or text templates. So you can just pull those up quickly every time you're sending a message. Now, a workaround for sending a mass email. In scheduled mass emails, if I click get started here, and there is some updates to this. If you've never used the scheduled mass email tool before, it should, or it will likely give a little pop-up on your screen. It'll ask you to fill out a short, just little disclaimer form. We're asking for everyone to make sure that they kind of read our policies on this. We're working hard to make sure that your emails, your text messages don't get flagged as spam and continue to deliver correctly. So we're encouraging you guys to watch what you're sending. Don't just send out email after email after email. We want to help protect the system and make sure it works properly. But kind of a workaround for mass emails, if you've got more than 250 individuals to send an email to, you could come here. And when you schedule an email, you could select everyone in your CRM with the same saved filter or the same hashtag. So if you have thousands of people with the same hashtag, doesn't matter. You could grab that entire group with the same hashtag. Really effective for newsletters and things like that. If you want everybody to go on your newsletter, give them hashtag newsletter and then craft your newsletter here. And then you could technically send it to everybody with a status. Now, you can actually select all your statuses here. You can select sphere, prospect, new lead, active lead, client. I could select them all effectively. So effectively, I could technically send this email to everyone in my CRM. Now, they're not all going to receive that at the same time. Again, we're trying to help these emails, help the text messages from being detected as spam and not delivering properly. So you will find if you're sending this out to many, many individuals, it'll probably get sent in batches. While you can choose a date and time, again, if we're sending this out in batches, they're not all going to receive it at 3:30 if I'm sending this out to hundreds of people. But this might be a workaround for you as far as sending out emails to a larger amount. But yes, you are correct. You won't be able to select multiple pages of context in your CRM for things like mass text messages. So I hope that helped, Robert.
Yes. What was that pathway again to get back to where you were just at? Again, you said
yeah, I'm in the marketing tab.
Right.
And then I scroll down to scheduled mass emails, get started. And then you just click schedule email. And again, I really like the scheduled mass email tool for newsletters, holiday emails, if you want to notify a large group in preparation for, say, an open house. And it's great because you can build these out in advance. I could build out a message for every holiday of the year right now if I wanted to.
Great. Thank you.
Of course. Thanks for asking. All right, so let's see. And then Robert, in the Q&A, I saw a quick snippet showing an email address to add our emails to redirect them. The email to capture, sorry, I don't have much more, but was on a couple previous screens. Was that related to the same question or?
No, somewhat. You had, when we started early on, there was a section, and it's mentioned in somewhere on the screen, to add a certain email address to basically a blind copy to add to our email lists or our emails that we send out. And it's supposed to redirect. I just can't remember any more than that right now. So I'm sorry. So if you can help, that's great. If not, no worries. That was very early on.
Email to capture.
It was somewhere in there, and I'm so sorry. I can't give you any more.
Oh, it's okay. I know we talked a little bit about capturing phone numbers with text codes, but I don't know that we mentioned anything about might need some more caffeine.
It was just on one of the screens that you were going through that you flipped through, and I saw that in one of the little sections down there. So no worries.
Okay, if you see it again, feel free to give me a shout out. I don't know if it was something about unsubscribed
it was on one of the just on one of the screens that you were, I think, just one of the screens that you were utilizing to show us. I forget. I'm sorry. Never mind.
Oh, it's okay. No worries. That's apologies when there's a lot of questions coming in. I apologize if I don't get to everybody at the same time. But if it comes up again, feel free to raise your hand or let me know.
Thank you.
All right. All right. Denise said, okay, let's revisit that smart number. real quick, because someone said in the chat or in the Q&A that they tried calling their smart number, but there was no answer. So, couple pro tips that I missed about the smart number. Let's go back. Let's revisit this. Couple pro tips for all of you. Pro tip number one of the smart number, or rule number one of the smart number, is we don't want to call the smart number. Now, this again is going to be a shared office or team number unless you have purchased your own, or in some case, your brokerage has purchased that smart number for you. Now, with that smart number, the reason we don't want to call it is because it's going to follow whatever lead routing rules are set up by your office. So it's not going to recognize that your phone number is you. You're not a contact in your own database. So it's going to treat you like a new lead. And by default, most offices have it set up, have a lead routing rule that would take any new lead that say calls that number, because it's going to be listed on your office website. It's going to, follow routing rules, which is usually it's going to, distribute evenly amongst the agents of the office. So agent A is going to get the first lead, agent B is going to get the second lead, so on and so forth. Some brokerages, depending on their lead routing rules, might route it back to your admins. They might disperse the leads. They might keep the leads. So a couple different ways that they could do it. They might, have you earn the leads or pay for the leads or have a specific program for that. So all depends on their lead routing. But chances are if you call your own smart number, that lead's not going to come back to you unless it's a contact in your database. So I would not call that smart number yourself. That's not what it's meant for. It's meant for your contacts to call, or you to be able to send mass text message and phone calls. So we don't call the smart number. We do want to introduce it to the contacts that we're going to have in our CRM. If you are using it for new leads, use it with a text code. And then third thing about the smart number, not a bad idea to also add this as a contact in your own phone. Because if you haven't tried making a call through kvCORE, if I started a call, if I went to go call Jamie here, my phone's going to ring first and it's going to have me connect together. Additionally, if I do get any new leads, my phone might ring and it might be the smart number on the other line. The smart number might be indicating that, I either have a new lead that's being sent to me or that I have someone to follow up with. So you might occasionally be called from that smart number. So not a bad idea to have that in your own phone as a contact. All right, so I hope that helped. Let's see, in the Q&A, anonymous attendee said, what if I work with 2 different states? Can I have 2 different smart numbers for each? In that case, I would say, you could definitely purchase another smart number. And I don't know if we could talk about it with our support team. I don't know if anyone for 2 different states, if they have 2 different smart numbers. There's no reason why you couldn't purchase multiples. I don't think that's an issue for any reason. But I don't know a lot of people that do, or I don't know of any specific cases where someone has done that because they operate from 2 states. Now, what I would really make sure to emphasize, and I know this wasn't part of your question, but just a little pro tip for anyone out there that is part of multiple states or multiple MLSs, if you want all those listings to show up on your website in your account, please make sure in your kvCORE profile, which is this little hidden menu in the corner, if you go to your profile here, please make sure that you have, if you're part of more than one MLS, make sure you have all those listed here. That's going to help populate those listings to your website and to your account. So unrelated to smart numbers, but just because I do get that question a lot, what should I be doing if I am part of multiple MLSs or part of multiple states? Make sure you include that information. Little pro tip. All right, Penny says, I want to send out a mass email to several hundred people that would be considered cold prospects. I haven't heard from you the last 13 years. They are not considered spam. Will this be an issue? So again, shouldn't be an issue. I would use that scheduled mass email tool that you'll find in the marketing tab. If you want to be able to pull them up easily in mass, again, you can either pull them by hashtag. So say if everybody, if I had hundreds of contacts in here with hashtag cold prospects, I could grab them that way. If you don't have it added to them, you can always add a hashtag to your individuals. And that way, if you're going to be sending lots of mass messages to your cold prospects, it might be worth it to have that as a hashtag. If it's easier to filter for it, you could do that too. So I could filter for my prospects that are buyers. Again, if they had a hashtag, you could pinpoint who has an email address. That's going to be helpful as well, because you can only send them an email if you have an email address for them. And, if you had different, something else for them as well. Maybe they did not set up on search alerts and market reports. And you could save that filter and use that filter as a way to grab a grouping as well. Or, if you just want to send it to all your prospects, you could just also filter by status. So a couple different ways you can choose what groups you want with those scheduled mass emails. But shouldn't be an issue just because it's been a hot topic for today. Let's send out, I'm going to share out an article as well about email deliverability. And just share that out as well. It's just a good idea to get acquainted with the policies. Again, there's nothing wrong with sending out an email to hundreds of contacts. Sure, a lot of you out there have extensive databases. It's going to be necessary from time to time. You just want to be mindful about why some emails go to spam and how to prevent it. All right. Someone, Denise in the chat, asked if there's a way if kvCORE can tell you if a client opened the email you sent them. So if you go into your smart CRM and you go check your contacts, I'm going to go pull up, let's see if I checked an email recently, if I can give you a good example here. So if you click on any contact in your CRM, just click on their name. And you go to their timeline, you can scroll down and you can see all the emails, anything that was sent to them, and you can scroll back. It's going to show you the most recent information at the top. The farther you scroll, the farther back you'll go. Now, this is a test lead that I have in here. I've added myself as a test lead. Use a different phone number, use a different email address than what's in your profile information if you're adding in a test lead, but have that in there. And that way, if you want to test out emails or text messages before you send them out to your true contacts and leads, you can just try it out on your test lead. So always a good policy. But you'll notice anything that's an email, I can go and I can view that to the right. There's a little email icon, says email has not been opened. I'm scrolling down here, I'm going back a ways because I'm trying to give a little visual of what that looks like if they have opened the email. This might not have been the test lead to check. There's probably a visual in some email documentation that we have as well. So email tracking overview, this might be a newer article. Oh yeah, absolutely. So to give you a little visual, unopened versus open, let me make my screen a little bit bigger so that's a little easier to see. So if they haven't opened, looks like a closed envelope. If they have opened your emails, it'll change color. It'll look like an open envelope. And when you hover over it, it will show you, okay, they clicked on it at this time or opened it at this time. You'll see that information. So great question. Yes, you can check that in kvCORE, and I'll share the article about it. All right, so that was Denise. And then Denise said, try calling the smart number from my mom's cell and it didn't ring, or you didn't receive the text. I would, again, just double check, is your mom's cell phone added to one of your contacts in your CRM? If your mom is added as contact in your CRM and you call your smart number from your mom's cell phone number, that lead or that phone call should be redirected from you. You should be notified that that lead called, and it should be routed to you. If that's not the way that it's working, I would reach out to our support team. But the only way it's going to route to you is if it's your contact in your kvCORE Smart CRM. All right. So another great question as well, does the smart campaign end when a lead responds? All right, we're nearing the end of our time. But let me see, let me try to give a quick answer to this. So some campaigns will change if a lead responds. The default For example, new lead campaign. And for those of you that aren't familiar with how we categorize leads at kvCORE, if you get a new lead that looks at listings on your website, and they sign up there, they're going to come in as a new lead and say a buyer. And if you have our smart campaigns, the default ones in your account and turned on, the default new lead buyer campaign should trigger and send out messaging. The new lead is probably one of our most probably assertive campaigns. We're really trying to speed to that lead, engage with them as soon as possible, because you're much more likely to win over that lead if you're the first one to engage with them, to reach out with them, to follow up. So that new lead is going to send out lots of different messages to try to capture them, get a response. And if they respond to that new lead campaign, that will change them to the active lead campaign. Assuming you have that one turned on, it should change them automatically. So this is actually something, if you wanted to, you could turn off in your behavioral automation. It's currently set to have any prospects and new leads, if they respond to you, should change them to an active lead. Because if they're actively responding to you, they're in a different scenario there. If they responded and they said, actually, yes, I am interested in homes in this area for this price point, you don't want to keep sending them emails or text messages that are still trying to, just grab their attention. Emails, general messages that don't have to do with their current situation. You want to, if they've responded and they said, yes, this is actually what I'm looking for, we want to respond back. We want to give them, information tailored to what they need. So it is designed to switch to an active lead and change their campaign. But these prospects and new leads can change to an active lead if they respond. Those are the only campaigns or the only statuses that will change automatically for you. Now I can manually change them. Once this active lead becomes a client, I can manually change that for myself. If a sphere of influence contact becomes a client, I can manually change that for myself. But that's something I'm doing. And then we'll usually change the campaign as well, assuming it's turned on. I would be aware some of the campaigns that we have in kvCORE at the end of the cycle will change their status. So let's head into marketing real quick, smart campaigns. I know we're over time. If you do need to take off, this session was recorded. I will make sure that it gets added to our YouTube channel within 48 hours. So be on the lookout for that if you want to catch this. If you need to leave, if you want to catch the recording, you can do that. But in our smart campaigns, do be aware that some of the campaigns that you'll look at in the kvCORE library will change their status after a time. For example, our closed campaigns, usually at the end, and this is a newer one. This one actually works a little bit differently, but our default closed campaign, and there are some new campaigns that have launched. If you weren't already aware, you will see them in the kvCORE library. Again, there's a video on our YouTube channel all about the new campaigns. So if you haven't checked that out, highly encourage it. But for example, our previous campaign just for closed contacts, the default closed, this is the one that most of our long-term users will see in their accounts. You'll notice at the end of it, day 366, it'll change them to Sphere. So after a year, since you've closed the deal with them, moves them into Sphere. So that way they can start receiving messaging from the Sphere campaign and kind of continue from there. So that way they continue to be nurtured. So I would check those campaigns. You don't have to read through every single message that you're going to use if you just don't have the bandwidth for that. But I think it's a good idea to at least be acquainted with maybe the first message of your campaigns and maybe the last action of your campaigns. You can always view those messages as well. If you add your own copy of these campaigns, you can edit the messages too. Next to view, it'll have a little edit button. And you could even, add in yourself a task or something at the end of your campaign, maybe before it changes status, a little task reminder to yourself to remind you that their campaign is ending. So that's a little pro tip as well. All right. Denise, can we finger dial a client not saved yet in kvCORE? Unfortunately, through the mobile app, through the smart CRM, you can only call and text individuals that are already in your database. So they do need to be added first before you can call them. All right. Oh, and lead Dropbox. Let's see. Oh, someone was talking about emails. Let's see. Oh, went to the wrong place. Lead engine, lead Dropbox, emails. So this is attaching notes from, when you get a new lead and the email is captured. If you want to also bring over notes and contact information, this is another kind of roundabout way to do it as well. Oh, Robert, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. That's the page right there that I was showing. If you look down there, it says add notes to existing leads. And it says whenever you email a lead contact, just BCC the address below. That's where I saw that a while ago. So I'm so glad we circled back around to that. Is there any way that you could throw that into the chat and let me copy that, please?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Copy that email address. But I'm
Oh,
sorry.
well, you're going to have a different one in your account, or
That's right. Where's that?
I think it's going to have a different number there. Yeah, it's a lead engine.
Right.
And then you're going to go to lead Dropbox. But what I can do, yeah, lead engine, lead Dropbox, and you scroll down, add notes to existing leads. But let me see if I can
Got it.
grab a support.
That's great.
Okay.
I'm so glad we found it. I didn't feel like I was going crazy. Thank you so much.
Also, if you look up support articles for lead Dropbox for anyone who missed it, if you want more information on that, you can definitely find that too.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, folks. I'm sorry. I know there was some other questions in the chat. I try to answer a spelling mistake in a kvCORE campaign message. Last question. We're wrapping it up here. We're gone a little over here today, but Maria, apologies if I pronounced that wrong. In your marketing, in your smart campaigns, I would double check for your campaigns that are here. If you have them scoped to user, check whatever campaign it is you want to make edits to. If it says it's scoped to user, you should be able to click into it and just edit that message. The edit box should appear. If that's not the case, if you don't see these edit options, if it's not scoped to you, if it's scoped to your company or your team, you could clone that campaign. By cloning it, you're essentially making a copy of the campaign, and you can make whatever spelling edits you want to campaigns which you own. So making a copy means it's your copy, and then you can go and there's inline editing for all those messages. So you could just type in and fix that spelling issue in your campaign if that's there. All right. And yes, thank you, Charles, so much for sharing out that information about the email area. I'm glad we got that caught. All right, folks, wrapping it up for today. Thank you so much for all your excellent questions. I was very sad that Christina couldn't be with us here today, but hopefully this was a helpful session for you all. Again, we do teach these every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so feel free to come back and check more of them out. I will be back on Thursday. We're going to talk about mass messaging for Thanksgiving holiday. So hope to see you then. Take care, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your day.